What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Patreon. It is currently almost 11:30 p.m. here on the East Coast in the USA. I hope you guys are having a great morning, great afternoon, great night, wherever you may be in the world. Just had another very successful stream on my main YouTube channel there. Of course, the channel that is linked to all these videos that you are watching here on Patreon. And guys, huge shout out to all of you who come to those streams and interact and hang out. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support that you guys give me. So many of you. I don't want to name any of you individually because I know there's some of you that keep coming back that I don't know the exact names of, but I know you by your YouTube names, but I don't know your names here on the Patreon. But guys, you know who you are. You know who you are. So thank you guys so much for supporting the streams and the channel. Guys, so interesting stuff happening today. Obviously, as if you were watching my stream, well, we were watching this breakdown here, right? Price was kind of just playing in here and shooting down. And guys, the other day, or yesterday, I guess, I was talking about how, just because it's a descending wedge, it doesn't mean that we're guaranteed to break out. I was saying that it's more likely that we're breaking down, right? And we did see a breakdown. And we just caught a lower low here on Bitcoin, which does show weakness in the market. We are also getting a slight increase, right? We had a decrease in volume, and then as it was coming down, we had a slight increase. So that's also an interesting thing to note. So guys, again, I just did a 4-hour stream, so excuse my speech. So we hit $3,300 here on Bitstamp. If we go back and we look at this long term, we can see that 3,300 was part of one of the parabolic moves here, one of the parabolic lows, essentially. So below this, guys, we're looking at $2,800, $3,000 as the next area to be looking at. I don't think that this area is necessarily the best area to be taking action. Not here. I don't think I would want to be taking action here. Volume, like I said on my stream, is really just kind of crappy, right? It's not that great. Even if we do get some short-term upside, I do think we're going to get rejected and ultimately fall. Now, guys, if you are following the strategy, first off, nothing I say is financial advice. The crypto market contains a high level of risk, and that is why I keep telling you guys that we should not be investing more money than we can lose. But here's the thing. I think that, my preferred buy target is 2,500. I think, the reason why I'm taking this strategy, the accumulation strategy, and, holding on to positions while they're negative, right? I think that ultimately the price is going to, whether we get sideways trading here before the next leg down doesn't really matter to me. I think ultimately we are going to sort of find a low somewhere around here. And this will ultimately be our range to be trading in for a while, moving into 2020 and then pushing up. So I don't want to, we don't need to panic sell, or I personally don't need to panic sell these positions now. Because ultimately I think we're going to be seeing these levels again. And if we do have more than the vast majority of our capital on the sidelines, we can get nice positions whenever we do find the bottom. And ultimately, we'll be catching the bottom while we're accumulating and profiting on the way back up. And we'll be in the profit zone on the way back up, and these positions won't be that significant anymore. As long as we have majority of our capital on the side, we can we can accumulate as we're finding a low and be profiting on the way up, and we will be majority profiting by the time something like this takes place. And of course, the price will then consolidate or whatever happens, and I think going into 2020, we'll start seeing progressive moves up. It could take longer, guys. It could take longer. We could even, it's possible that we actually go lower. Who knows what's actually going to happen? And it could take even longer. But I think, ultimately we'll be okay, right? That is why I'm using the accumulation strategy. And of course, we have a couple positions now that are down, which is okay. It's not that big of a deal. If you aren't putting too much capital in the market here, this is not a huge deal because you should have majority of your capital ready to go for lower prices so you can accumulate on the downswing and start profiting on the way up, right? Wherever it may be. We could be trading here for a while and then come down. Who knows, right? Who knows how long this is going to last? The one thing that I do know right now is that this bear market is actually executing so much faster than I think anybody thought. It is taking place way faster than anybody expected. And we need to be prepared now for much lower prices pretty quickly at this point. We'll see what happens, though. Is it possible that we get a short-term upswing and we start playing in this range first before we come down? Yeah, that is possible. But at this point, guys, I mean, there's not, at this level here, if you want to put, there's nothing wrong with accumulating at this level, right? Just don't overexpose yourself, because you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for lower prices so that you can accumulate down there, so that you, by the time you're coming up, you're profiting on the way up, right? You want to be profiting on the way up, right? So that you're not overexposed here. You have the majority of your capital ready to accumulate at the lows so that you're profiting by the time we come up, right? That is what this strategy is all about. Right now, you guys are feeling the slight uncomfortability of the strategy, but this is, guys, it is all part of the strategy. There's no such thing, really, as just going all in and mooning, right? That is not a reality. That is not a reality. It's near impossible to just catch the bottom with 100% and pop out and you'll be good to go. Guys, that's not what investing is. That's not how you get into a market. When you want to invest in a market for the long term, you gotta allow some things to, you gotta allow yourself to be slightly uncomfortable as you're positioning yourself. But ultimately, guys, long term, it's going to work out if Bitcoin survives, right? I would assume that it will, but I'm just saying. You have to at least consider all of these things. Now, again, if you're following my strategy, which is not financial advice, you should always do your own research before investing or trading. If you're following the strategy, well, of course, you have a small amount of capital in this area, and you should have the majority of it ready for lower prices. I personally don't want to put any money in here at this level. Even if we do get some short-term upside from here, I wouldn't really regret it. I wouldn't really regret not accumulating here. We're just not that far off. We're just not that far off from this area. So I would like to see this thing go a little lower before I start accumulating more. And historically, 3,300 really isn't that critical. But guys, I could be wrong. And maybe we get, and who knows? Maybe we get some kind of crazy short squeeze and pop out of here. But if that is the case, it's not a big deal. I got positions there, and I have not panic sold, right? I did not panic sell here, right? So guys, that's really all I want to say. Just wanted to keep you guys updated on what's going on here and on what I am doing. And if you want to follow what I'm doing, you can do that. Again, guys, I've been trying to prepare you mentally for this scenario, because I've been telling you I do think we're going to see lower prices. Pretty much every video I said I do think we're going to see lower prices, so don't go too crazy here, right? And this is what I've been preparing you for downside, for positions being in the red, right? So just so you guys know, this is what you should have been prepared for mentally. You should, hopefully you're not overexposed up there. If you've been following the strategy, you're not overexposed up there, and you're prepared for lower prices and to scoop some nice panic sells at the lows here. Again, if you like what you're seeing here, right, you can go for it. Just don't go too crazy, Just don't go too crazy. All right, guys, and I will talk to you all very soon.